And welcome back into the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Southeast Termite and Pest Control. The weather's cold outside, so how many creepy crawlies have snuck into your home for a long winter's nap? If you spot spiders, ants, or worse in your house, then you need to call the folks who protect my house. That's Southeast Termite and Pest Control. Great company. Dial them up this week. They've been doing it for more than 50 years, since 1971. It's East Tennessee's largest locally owned, family-owned pest control company, Southeast Termite and Pest Control. All right, let's welcome in the back half of our panel today. The last three, you're not really the back half, but you know what I'm getting at. We'll do it this way.
I've been called that before.
We have VFL Marlon Walls, VFL Sterling Hinton, and VFL for a little while, Bob Hodge. Walked on, walked off. Appreciate you being here, bud. Tennessee's just a couple of weeks away from a New Year's Day game with Iowa. Sterling, Daniel was supposed to be here today, so this wouldn't cut as hard as it's about to. But as the only guy on the panel who's won a bowl game.
That's right. That's right.
Right question. Sorry, Marlon.
Well, we had 1 second. They took the 1 second.
That's right. Close against North Carolina. Close against North Carolina. What's the key to a good bowl performance? Is it the preps? Is it being properly motivated, focused? What is the key to winning a bowl game?
Bottom line, you're playing somebody that's trying to take something away from you. Bottom line, it's a game, and you want to win. And you want to go into winter workouts with a win. And that's how we always thought about it. We just want to win anybody that win the game against anybody that played against us. And, the preparation is the preparation. It's a lot of fun on bowl trips, a lot of fun, man. You learn a lot.
That's what I was going to ask you. You've got coaches handle it differently. You were under Coach Majors, of course. Some guys, it's all business. It's a business trip, and we'll have a little bit of fun. Yeah. Some guys, you played for Lane Kiffin at a bowl. There wasn't a lot of work going on.
What's Kiffin's? We got to get that Kiffin's bowl record.
Because that one, there wasn't a lot of work by the coaches or the players. And then you've got other guys who kind of split it down the middle. Where was Majors?
Coach Majors split it down the middle. Now, it was practice time, and he was the same old JTM, baby. You better believe it. Knock, knock, rock, rock. He was going on. We had probably the longest bowl practice. We had 13 periods. I don't know what these guys doing now. Maybe 9 or 10.
Probably can't do anything like that.
Exactly. So we had long bowl practices, but we had a lot of fun on the bowl trips. And what I liked about bowl trips the most is you got to spend a lot of quality time with your teammates. You had a lot of quality time with your teammates. You had a whole week to have fun with your teammates and prepare for a contest. And when it was game time, it was showtime.
Well, and in today's current environment, with so many people hitting the transfer portal, which we'll get to, so many people go in the NFL, it's also an opportunity to bring those young guys who've been around at practice, but now you're stepping up. It's like you've been through a year of practice. Now let's get into it.
And that's a big part of it also, because the young guys get a chance to practice. And when I was ready, we scrimmaged. While the other guys practice at the Liberty Bowl.
We didn't scrimmage.
Marlon, talk to me about what makes for a good. Well, you can give it both. What you were under Kiffin in a game that Tennessee wasn't close, and the legends are long in terms of how much Kiffin and his staff partied. You also were under Derek Dooley, who almost won that game against North Carolina. What's the key, and you may take this from the wrong side, but what's the key to a good bowl performance or to avoiding a bad bowl performance?
I would say preparation is a big piece. You've got to have a good time, but there's also got to be a other side of it. When we're at practice, there's a script. We kind of keep things as normal as possible, meaning like our periods, what we're looking like, what period comes after the next. So I would say preparation is a big piece. I would say in today's era, I think it's a little bit more challenging. Because right now you got to worry about who's even back on the squad. Who do we have coming in? Who's going to play? I think back in that day and time, we had Eric Berry, who was a safety for us, right? Top 10 pick. We knew he was playing in the bowl game. Whereas now, in today's era, right, that top guy, you already seeing that now. Hey, I'm getting ready for the draft. So I think the big piece is preparation, but I would also say who's going to be available. So whether that be transfer portal or who's opting out for the draft, I think that's a big piece.
Good point.
Bob, this sounds like peewee coaching, and it's something that I don't normally believe, but I do think it applies to bowls. You can tell me if you disagree. We always hear, well, they wanted it more. Anytime a team loses, you always say the other team wanted it more. I think that's a cop-out in a lot of ways. I think that's just simple, and fans throw that out there, and some media throw it out there. But I think in bowl games, you do often look and say, okay, This team is playing for their new coach. This team is trying to stake their flag and say, we are back as a program. Tennessee last year, for example. Other teams go into it and it's like, oh, it's our 4th Orange Bowl in a row. I don't care anymore. I think motivation really factors
I'll
into
give
bowl
you an
games.
example of a game I think could end up that way. Missouri and Ohio State. Missouri surpassed expectations, has a chance to finish as a top 10 team, and I think they're going to be motivated to win that bowl game. Ohio State was thinking college football playoffs, lost one game,
Guys are
and
already
now I'm
transferring
down
out.
here in the Cotton Bowl in Dallas.
Yeah.
So I think that's a perfect example of what you're talking about, is how the motivation for these games can just be from one team to another. We've seen it. Utah beat Alabama a few years ago in a bowl game. Oftentimes, this bowl game is the highlight for this team, and it's a disappointment for this team. See, and that's the reason I think this game is going to be a good one for Tennessee, because you got two teams, transfer portal, all that stuff aside, who, okay, this game means a little bit of something for them as far as where you're ended up at the season ranked, et cetera.
See, I was going to ask, who's got the motivation edge in this game? Because what is the motivation for Tennessee? It's a step back from where we were last year.
Right.
It's and Sterling, I know you can list 45 things, but I mean in reality.
Okay,
That
okay.
what things should be motivation aren't necessarily what always are motivation. You know what I'm getting at? So I just want, what is the motivation? Tennessee isn't trying to stake, we are a top 10 team like you were trying to do last year.
Right.
You're going to be top 10 if you beat Iowa. You're not in the same bowl. What is your motivation? And does Iowa have better motivation? Or are they disappointed after getting waxed against Michigan
I
in their
mean, I
championship
look
game?
at this as Iowa's got motivation. It's going to be the last game for
Their offensive
France's son,
coordinator.
offensive coordinator. They're going to be playing for him.
They're going to score
I mean,
all 8 points for him.
and maybe hold Tennessee to 7. So that's their thing, is they're
good
playing
defense.
this team with this reputation of this fantastic offense, even though this year it might be a little overblown. But I think, okay, our defense is going up against this newfangled wild offense. We're going to show you what we're made of.
Okay, so you give a motivation edge to Iowa?
Slightly.
Who's got the motivation edge? What is Tennessee's motivation? Take either one you want.
I'm gonna say Iowa, and here's the reason why. We played them. What year was that? We played them in the bowl
5
game?
or 6 years ago.
5
Well,
or 6
Butch
years ago.
Jones.
And we beat the mess out of them, right?
That's right.
So
Yeah.
I would imagine that coach who's still intact over there, this is a little bit more motivation. Hey, we played against this team last time. We showed up. They blew us out in that bowl game. We want to give a better showing.
Would that have been
15 or
2016?
16.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
Somewhere in there. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm glad Marlon said that, because that's where I'm at with it. To let people know that we are still here, because Iowa has motivation to come at us for payback reasons, for let their fans know that the championship game was not us.
Yeah.
And we got a situation to let everybody know, hey, that Vanderbilt game is more us than other games you've seen during the season. And we beat them before, we got to do it again. Anybody can do anything once, right? Let's do it again. So that's how I think our motivation is.
The other thing that's interesting, and I think this plays well for Tennessee, who they're playing, sometimes when a team doesn't have the motivation edge and they fall behind early,
Yeah, over.
good day,
Yeah.
back to the hotel. And I don't think Iowa's a team that can blow you out.
Unless they
Knock
score
on-
on defense. They got to score on defense.
Yeah, unless you give them touchdowns.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
So, all right, very good. When we come back, there are plenty of transfer portal positives for the Vols. We'll talk about the negatives a little later. Let's talk positives next. Who's staying? Who's arriving? Come on back on the Sports Source.